Before this episode begins, which I hope you will love, I want to give a very special thank you to special guest Mike Bear, and a special thank you to my really, really good friend Alex. I love you, bro. Love you, dude. With that being said, enjoy the episode, folks. Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 8 of Vulnerability Time. I am your host, Josias Abril. Remember, folks, I changed my name legally. Well, it'll be official February 2023, but by the time y'all hear this episode, by the time this airs, my name will legally be Josias Abril. Josias Throlis Epizon Abril. There we go. Um, Today, folks, our topic is when the dust settles. See, I don't even know what that fully encompasses. Um, but before we even get into that, let us meet our special guest, Mike Bear. Mike, how does it feel? Welcome,
Hey,
welcome.
thank you very much. It feels great. I'm so excited to be on with you tonight. This is an honor for me. I really appreciate it.
Yes. Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself, Mike. I know you do some singing and a lot more stuff. Tell us a little bit about you, Mike.
Sure.
Toot your own horn.
Okay. Well, so what can I say about myself? I am a singer, I performer, I am a manager, I am a devout friend, I am a conscious person, I'm an environmentalist person, social justice person. I
Mm-hmm.
am about that living the life
Mm-hmm.
and
And you
all
have
that
your
it
own
has.
website, correct?
Yes, my website is mike-bear.com. Again, it's
Uh-huh.
www.mike-bear.com. That
Mm-hmm.
dash is very important. mike-bear.com. And I have my music is on there. I just released an album. It's a demo album. It's free on my website. I also have my YouTube channel at Mike Bear 76. That's also my Instagram handle. And you can find out a lot about me, pictures, and all of my background on my website and my social media.
Yes, and folks, as y'all all know, it will also be in the episode description as well. Because if you're like me and you suck at spelling, well, that's what the episode description's for. You can just click and go. Click and go. Because I can't spell to save anybody's life. If I spell, everyone's dead. Everyone's dead. That's how it is. Well, Mike, first off, before we, get into what it means to when the dust settles, I'm such an intriguing discussion. Um,
Yeah.
what got you into country music? What got you into, being a country singer? Why not other genres? Is there something that, pulled you to country music? What's the little background behind that?
Wow. Wow. That in itself is a story. I have lots of stories, and they're all rich. And what I do, it goes back deep. Music has always been a part of my life. I grew up in a Pentecostal church, um, the black church, the kind of
Yeah.
church where, choirs at church, 6, 7 days a week sometimes, especially during the holidays. I grew up in the church and I grew up singing songs underneath the pews. I remember I was singing underneath the pews as the service was going on. And, that was the music I knew. I knew people like the Clark sisters. That was a huge group back in the day, back in the early 80s. And those are the songs I knew, all the church songs. And then as I grew older, I was exposed to other musical genres, like New Edition and Boys to Men, Mariah Carey, and those real soulful singers that I grew up loving, the soul. And then there was a movie that kind of changed my life, really, that made me think about music differently and how I approached music. And it was the movie Lean on Me, and the very first
Okay.
song was "Welcome to the Jungle" by Guns N' Roses.
Mm.
And that song, there was just something about it that hit me, that this song could be the lead song over this movie that was should have been rooted in soul and hip hop, but really that's the song that it was the driving force behind this movie. The first scene, it really related that it didn't matter what type of music it was, it can relate a story to whatever you put it to. So I started loving rhythm and blues, and then southern rock, and I noticed that everything had similarities to it. It's rhythm, it's blues, it's drum beat. You just have to mix it up a little way. And then I discovered country and groups like the Oak Ridge Boys, which are some of you who are listening may not even know who they are. Groups like Rascal Flatts, who combine these rhythm and blues with this guitar and rock kind of feeling, and then southern rock. And I realized, wow, it's all kind of it's all music is music, and it's up to
Yeah.
me what I want to do with it. And I fell in love with groups like that. And obviously, some of my country icons, obviously, those black male country artists, Charlie Pride, and obviously Darius Rucker,
Oh wait,
and
y'all.
now currently Jimmy.
I am Darius Rucker's cousin. For those who do not know, I am Darius Rucker's cousin. Just wanted to put
Oh,
that
I'm
out
so.
there for you country music fans. Yes. Continue.
Yeah, so that's good. But stars like that, and that really showed me that I could do whatever I want with music, and that's why I really fell in love with that type of genre. And today is amazing that people like Jimmy Allen, who are huge, and a group that I really love
Yeah.
right now called the War and Treaty,
Okay.
who combine those early gospel roots with country and rock,
Mm.
and that's what I attain to now is all the genre music that I grew up listening to. I try to apply in everything now, and I wouldn't say it's necessarily all country. I believe it's American roots music,
Yeah.
soul, rock, southern rock, gospel,
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
country, if you want to call it folk. I love it all. And now I'm really getting my niche in music. And
Yeah.
you can see that on my website, the songs that I release on my demo on mike-bear.com. There's 10 songs, and I pick artists that I emulate and I love to sing their songs because that's the type of song I want to sing. And you can't really
Mhm.
lock them down to one particular type. They just happen to be in country genre, but they
Mm.
all say what I love and what I'm really trying to say in each song.
Right. Okay, seems like you are no stranger to music. You said even something beautiful that I like that you said was, the song from Guns N' Roses, being
Yes,
the intro song in Lean on Me. And I like how you said that, you know, it doesn't matter what song it is, it can still help portray a story. It doesn't have
yes,
to be geared towards, it can be a diverse selection. Um, nothing's disqualified from betraying a story. That's
nothing.
the kind of thing that I got from what you were saying with that statement. I think that that's awesome because it's true, you know?
Yeah, and that's something. That's what I live by. Is that um, if it weren't meant to be, then it wouldn't be. But there are lots of things that aren't meant to be
Hmm.
that happen. Some things are um, traumatic in life,
Hmm.
and some things are the most exciting, exuberant, the best things in the world. But things happen, and you never know. And you could apply whatever you want to any situation, but there's a story, and songs tell a story. And that's why, and that's the other reason why I like country music is I particularly like this genre is because the storytelling,
Hmm.
you can say a lot. And when the dust settles, it's actually a song I'm working on right now. And that whole
Oh.
idea, yeah, and the whole idea of it is
Hmm.
uh, based in life experience and about what not necessarily what is meant to be, it what happens,
Mm-hmm.
and then what
Mm-hmm.
happens after that.
Yeah.
Um,
That's amazing.
and
And
I, yeah,
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 yeah, that's, that there, folks, this is why I'm really excited to hear this discussion, to have this discussion with Mike Bear. Um, because like he said, when the dust, so Mike, we're just gonna jump right into it. Um, what when the dust settles, why that, what does that mean to you? What's the story behind that?
okay. Story behind the meaning of when the dust settles in the song that I'm writing now. It stems in what started to motivate me in the past few years to jump back into music.
Mm-hmm.
I was in my younger years in a successful Christian rock band.
Mm-hmm.
It was called Moses Brown for those who are listening and inquiring. You won't find it online, but there's some select CDs out there floating around in studios and producers or wherever have it, or people who have their hands on. But it was a Christian rock band, and I was in it for years and years. And things happened, and I was outed at the church I was in. And because of that, that relationship kind of had to be
Mm-hmm.
put on the back burner because I was dealing with situations at the time to find out who I was and my identity after um, leaving the church to now live in this new life of being an out black gay man. And so I put music on the back burner. And I continued in life, and I was successful in a few different careers, and did music karaoke here and there, and some competitions that thereby thing here and there, but I didn't really delve into it. And then my life went on, and I continued to in my professional career, and more competitions, and I thought about it. And then 2020 happened, and
Mm-hmm.
then I remember when um, I was in a career, public health career actually, right in the midst of COVID, dealing with COVID, and
Mm-hmm.
I was deployed. I was one of those people who was deployed to the work, and when we were all brought back home and we were put on lockdown, I spent lots of time in my backyard, and at that time we all were thinking about, all right, we can't go out. There's nothing to do. You can't read this book. You already read it. You can't watch this Netflix. You already watched it.
Yeah.
You can't play this game. You already done it. You can't do these 30 feet bonfires because you already did them. Um, and I started listening to music and the songs I did back when I was in that band I was in. I was very successful. And I remember that after all the craziness of me being outed at that time and my whole world collapsing underneath, literally like
So wait,
when a
this was
building
recent,
collapses.
Mike?
So this when I was outed actually. I'm open about my age. I'm 46 years old. I was outed in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
After 2001, sorry, 2001, I was out. And that in that time period, again, what happened in 2001? It was also 9/11.
Yeah.
So lots of things happened that year, and me being outed was one of them.
Mm.
And at that time, I said I was in a band, and that kind of went away because it was linked to my Christianity, my faith in the church. And I, walked away from the church because they wanted me to do things that was against what I felt at the time.
Mm-hmm.
There was this conversion therapy. They were gonna
Oh shit.
offer me that as a solution, and I said no, and then that's when I
Yeah.
fully became an out person. So from
There's so
there,
much trauma
I
associated
thought I
with
would
that.
never. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's so much trauma, like conversion therapy. That is such a traumatic thing. I'm so glad that, um, the law is cracking down on that, thankfully, because conversion therapy, that's traumatic, and I don't think it needs to exist at all.
Right. And this is, this is a different time. This is years ago. This was
Yeah.
actually 2001. Doesn't seem too long ago, but it is. And, from that situation, every day I remember when, I left the church that night, literally it was after a worship service. I was approached and, asked, point blank, someone said they saw me, at the time it was a small town. I went, only thing I knew outside the church was that there was a particular gay bar that gay men went to. And I was curious. And I
Mm-hmm.
went there and one night and someone saw me and they told my church. And the next, you know, week, I was approached. The question was asked, and I said, I'm gay. And then again, like I said, the next following day, literally, they were going to send me on a plane to conversion therapy. And I said no, and I walked from the church that night.
Yeah.
And all I knew was the church. I grew up in the church. And from that moment, all those years, 20 something years at that time, in the church every night and
Mm.
praying God would take this thing away that would
Yeah.
just not go away. This feeling that I had about my sexuality and what I knew. I walked away from the church because there was no understanding. And that's when the building fell, in my opinion, as far as the proverbial, the building collapsing. And then the dust started to settle. And
Mm.
that's when I started to see things for what they were
Mm-hmm.
and have time to feel those emotions that I did not allow myself to feel. Because if you can't, there's the scars that we go through. It's like those thickets. If you're running from something and you're running through the brush, you don't realize till you get through the brush that you're covered in scratches from
Right.
getting through this thicket.
Mm.
Then you need to let those things heal so they don't
Yeah.
get infected, so you can move on. So you need that
Mm.
time to process. So that was a learning experience for me. And at that time, I walked away from music and I attributed my faith to the music I was singing or the talent or the gifts that were God gave me. And I knew those are gifts God given me as a child, but I put them aside because I equated them as these special talents that I saw as a young person, a gay 5 year old, where I used to dress my cousins up like I was Michael Jackson and my cousins were Diana Ross and the Supremes, and I would make them up in the dresses and pick their hair. And I
Mm-hmm.
had an afro when I was then, and I would take Vaseline in my hair and water and make it
Mm-hmm.
look like Jerry Curl because I was creative. All these things that I attributed as a negative because I said, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little bit too feminine, or I think too
Yeah.
much, or I'm a little bit too attentive at Thanksgiving, making sure that table is set just right, or making sure everybody has the plate, or pointing out, ooh, the pastor's wife's hip is her slip is showing. Those are things that I thought was a negative, and now because I've the dust had settled, I was able to see those are attributes of my, and then I applied those skills in my professional career. And again, I still put off music and equated it to my relationship, my personal relationship with God or higher power or whatever. But I
Right.
realized that these are gifts that were given to me. And,
Yeah.
I would sing here and there, but it wasn't really till the past few years that I really delved back into it. And that's because of COVID, the craziness of COVID and all of
Mm-hmm.
that. And then settling down and having to settle and
Yeah.
listen and observe
Mike,
what
would you say
was
that
happening.
the because of the lockdown, just being, you know, for at least, almost everyone in the US, the first 3 weeks of COVID, people were on lockdown. Now, I say first 3 weeks
Yeah,
because there are some states, like the great state of Texas that I love and live in. We opened up pretty fast. But for the first, 3 weeks, the country in general was on lockdown. So that, would you say that is symbolic for your story of the dust settling?
yeah. So okay, so so the craziness of COVID and oh my gosh, it's on TV and everybody, get in the house, stay in the house. There was that craziness. And then when we got in the house, there was nothing to do, and I listened to music for hours and just trying to calm myself and just center. And as I listened to music, that's what made me think that I need to get back into music. So then I literally got on the internet and bought a home recording studio, and I recorded a few tracks.
Is that the one I'm seeing behind
Just
you?
as kind of what's that?
Is that the one I'm
Oh,
seeing behind you?
this is so behind me. He's talking about is like this little mini kind of recording studio. I do session work, so this is
Mm-hmm.
like one of my session pods that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got the microphone, and my laptop is over here. You can't quite see it. My laptop is right here, and
Okay.
I have
Got the
my
beard
MIDI
brush.
mixer and all that. Yeah, well, that's right. My beard brush. I gotta have my beard brush.
You gotta have your
I'm on
beard
camera too,
brush.
so. So I bought this or something similar. I recorded some tracks and just as to see. I did some one throughs. I passed it around to a couple of radio DJs friends I have, and they
Mm-hmm.
said, this is great. You should record. So I got ideas for the album. It's called Amp Ear, and that's lowercase AMPEAR, Amp Ear, hashtag Amp Ear on mike-bear.com. And there's 10 songs on there. And those 10 songs is what I listened to over and over during COVID. And those are songs by Little Big Town, and Keith Urban, and Casey Musgraves, and Rascal Flatts, and Jimmy
Mm.
Allen, and lots of great songs. And um, I recorded those all during COVID lockdown, and then after I put this album together along with videos.
Yeah.
One song is called "Slow Burn." That's on YouTube. A great video done by my friend Matt over at Side Room Sounds, and that's sideroomsounds.com. And he is in Binghamton, New York, and he actually did the video for "Slow Burn," video for "I Was Wrong," um, and it's 10 songs, and there's a song for everybody. And I wanted to do this to show my vocal skills to everybody, and just to do it for myself, but it's really a healing album for me. This is
Yeah.
what got me through music. And at that moment when I did this album, I swore that I would not hide this light.
Yeah.
Don't
Mm.
hide the light
Mm.
because people need to see the light.
Ooh.
Um, and the light, even at its brightest, can dim. And unfortunately, and I speak with, um, I'm touched, not so much touched, but I'm heartbroken that Twitch boss recently
Yeah.
passed away.
From
And
suicide, right?
that is something, what's that? He passed actually yesterday.
Yes,
And
from
his
suicide.
light is gone now. And he was such a light for so many.
Hmm.
And it's important that people know that not to hide those things inside, not to hide your feelings either, because mental health is an issue, especially in the Black community, and you need to seek people to talk to about it. Um, those years that I held my music in and didn't express myself was because I was conditioned to do that,
Mm.
um,
Mm.
to hold things in because I didn't want to upset anybody. And I know that that was damage that did some things to me. It caused me trauma throughout the years, but now I'm willing to deal with that, therapy, speaking about it. And I encourage anybody who is struggling with thoughts, suicidal thoughts, mental health issues, you don't know what to do. Financial issues can cause you emotional stress, physical stress. Work can cause you physical stress, emotional stress. There's resources for you. And sometimes all it is just to tell somebody about it. It doesn't have to be anybody you know. It could be some Joe anonymous person, but there are services for you because it's important. Because if you hold it in, it can cause damage that you can't undo sometimes. But I'm
Right.
thankful that throughout my life, I've had support. I've had support even when I was outed in those days throughout my life. And
There goes
I
that theme of
know I
support.
made it through
Yep.
because of that. And people reminded me, Mike, you're a singer. You are a singer. Sing. And that's what I'm doing.
Hmm.
And speaking about it and being public about it. And why it's important I do country music is because that is a genre that needs more representation of lots of people. Um, because it's music. Music is healing. It doesn't matter who you are and who you're singing it for. Someone is receiving it in a
Mm,
way
right, right.
that you will never know. And that's everything. Like even this podcast, and I appreciate you again for having me on because someone might be hearing this that needs to hear it. And I have a voice, and I'm gonna sing it out loud, and I'm gonna tell you about it. And resiliency doesn't come overnight. It's something I've dealt with, and I'm even going through something currently right now.
Mike, for
That
us who
this
don't
past
know,
week, yeah,
can you tell us what resiliency is?
yes,
Kind of in like your
resiliency.
definition.
Yes, I'll explain it. Resiliency is being able to come through something,
Mm,
and even though you're scraped and bruised,
yeah.
you still came through. And a
Mm,
lot of us know what that is. Stretching that $20 for the next 2 weeks so you could feed your family on some spaghetti and sauce. That gas tank that somehow just doesn't run out until you get your next paycheck.
mm,
That divorce that goes through,
mm,
um,
mm, mm, mm,
that custody battle, that
mm,
whatever it is in your life, you get through. And those are sometimes the resiliency comes in people praying for you or people doing things for you or
mm,
helping you out or giving you a ride or it's all a part of it. It's what gets you through. So
mm,
in my life, I've had lots of that. And I'm appreciative and I see that as part of those tools that got me through because
mm,
life is work and you need tools and that if that goes across everything. You need tools
mm.
to get you through. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen overnight for all of us. I would love to say I would be a multi-million dollar, country artist. It doesn't happen overnight
Right.
because I know, how I know it? Because I know lots of people just like me who it just doesn't happen for, but
Mm-hmm.
they're resilient and they make it through. And, uh, there's a song, tips in a jar, my guitar and an old bar stool. That's shout out to Luke Combs for that. But that's what it is. It's about getting through.
Yeah. Mike, this is what your story, what you just shared, made me think of something. I appreciate you. I've been looking really forward to
Thank
this. You knew that. But
you.
when the dust settles, so you have said this pretty much. For example, like a building. Okay, there's a building,
Mhm.
and there could be a light in there. You know, and then that building comes crumbling down because of some circumstance within or without that building. Um, and when something comes crumbling down, it does not look pretty. It's ugly. It sounds horrible, and when it finally comes crumbling down, there's dust everywhere, and you cannot see. You can't see. How can you? There's dust everywhere, getting in your eyes, your lungs. But when the dust settles, things become different. But it's like, it sometimes it takes time for that building to crumble, whether we want it to crumble or not, like, it can get
Mm.
old, it can get moldy, it just will no longer
Yes.
serve you or serve its
Right.
purpose, it can become unhealthy. Um,
Yes.
and yeah, and so that's why
Yeah.
I like what you said,
Yeah.
using,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not. And the whole thing about when the dust settles, it does not mean um, it does not mean your problems are going to be solved.
Right.
It might mean they're just starting. When the dust settles means lots of different things.
Mm. Yeah.
And when the reason why I'm writing a song, and it's really it's a feeling that we are all human and we all go through things.
Mm.
And in particular, we're talking about these storms that are happening right now, right? Tornadoes, the floods,
Yeah.
the hurricanes. When things settle,
Yeah.
it's what do we do? And there's lots of what do we do's, but it's about our choices.
Mm.
What happens now?
Yeah.
And that's a decision sometimes. Sometimes it's something we can control. Sometimes it's not something that is controlled by us.
Right.
But if we have breath, what is next? What can we do? Can we pick ourselves
Mm.
up? What can we do? You know what I mean?
Mm.
Sometimes it's up to others to maybe help us say, hey, you know what? What if you tried this? I know the hurricane happened, but I have a guest house. Why don't you come stay with me until you
Yes.
get,
Yes.
your feet on the ground or whatever? Or, you know what? I know your husband passed away. Our church has this basket of food that we're going to give to you every week. Uh, and, that reminds me of us back when I was a kid. I grew up in a very large uh, foster house, let's say, okay?
Wait, sorry, say that again.
And I grew up in a very large foster home, foster
Oh, okay.
adoptive home, let's put it this way,
Okay.
okay? And I can remember upwards of 25 kids coming through our house, whether it be cousins or people who coming from foster homes, other foster homes.
Yeah.
But I remember there was about 10 or 11 of us who were brought into the home permanently,
Mm-hmm.
adopted, as you would say. Um, and I never knew how poor we were until the minister and his wife came with a box of food
Right.
to the house. And those are those resilient moments that I learned from my mother.
Mm-hmm.
I remember her crying and I didn't remember why, but I just remember we got fed that night or whatever. It was never that. It was just here. What I mean, we got through. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, those are moments that have shaped me. And when the dust settles, sometimes you can think. It gives you time to think back on lessons learned,
Mm-hmm.
or what you could have done better, or
Mm.
um, maybe you could have talked to someone more about an issue. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not perfect, and I go through my issues, and as we all do with relationships and things like that, family, trust issues. I have, those are developed from, trust issues that I built upon myself, and just being disappointed over time.
Mm-hmm.
But I acknowledge those, and I work on those, and it's important for all of us to do that. But um, when the dust settles, sometimes it gives you time to think,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing is perfect. It may not work out, but what can you do to move yourself forward when you can? Who
Mm-hmm.
can help you? If not you, try to find that help to get you forward. Because we're here for a reason. And you have a light that's got to shine, no matter who it is.
Yeah.
And and if that light, feels crumbled, sometimes we are broken. You know, there are ways.
Yeah.
There are ways.
And and that's something beautiful that I thought about when you were saying this. I thought about three things. One, and this is just what I thought about. This is what I internalized. With situations in my life or situations to come in my life. Because I mean, that's problems gonna happen. That's when it comes to my life. I'm like, yeah,
Hmm.
problems are gonna happen. That's woo, life loves me sometimes, but you know, it seems like sometimes that building needs to crumble. What if our
Sometimes.
past selves are that building sometimes? What if it's this facade that we're trying to put on?
Hmm.
There's a lot of things that we're dimming inside of us because we don't want to be not enough for someone or too much for someone. So we dim what we have. We dim the brightness that we have, and we've just learned to do that. And so now, like, we are just that building of just concealment, and it's like it's time to break that. Let this light shine, because, like you said, someone's in dark and they need to see the light. They need to see your
Yes,
light.
yes, absolutely. And I can say that um, that's it. When I was outed in 2001, and I lost my church family,
Mm.
um,
Ooh, that makes me mad.
it forced
Mm.
me
Yeah.
to into a reality of what was really happening, what
Right.
was really happening. And I could not sustain in that oppressive thing that was holding me back from my potential
Right.
and what was promised to me in my
Right.
life.
Right.
And it was until that broke. Sometimes it happens on your own hand or
Hmm.
someone else's mallet. But
Yeah.
until something breaks, you cannot
Hmm.
um, get out of that box sometimes.
Yeah.
And when that happened, it allowed me to see things. And because of the experiences of my life, I've actually I was on the Logo documentary series. Um, it's
Okay.
called it's called Bear Run the movie. It's on YouTube. If you guys Google that, Bear Run the movie, and
It'll
that's
be in the
all
link
about
episode description,
the bear
folks.
culture, the gay bear culture, and it focuses on three of us: my friend Louie in Jersey, my friend Michael in Vermont, and me here in New York. And it's about our stories about me dealing with the church, coming out, Lou's weight issues, and Michael's being a trans man. And that because of that documentary, I've had lots of people come up to me or send me messages saying because they saw me in my experience, they were able to get through something or they could relate to something.
Mm.
And I realized that because if I did not go through that outing experience and the most traumatic thing of my life to get me to a point in my life where I could share that, I would not be able to affect change in these other people that I never would have known I did, and I still don't.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
But what I've decided to do is live in truth and push through those scary moments
Yeah. Yeah.
of uncertainty, not jumping blindly like some fool. Don't be a fool. Don't ever be a fool. You do your due diligence, you do your homework, you are realistic, you budget, you think about it, you process, you consult, get support, whatever you need to do to make a change or move forward. And it's hard sometimes. And we're not always successful. But if
Mhm.
we say, oh, instead of packing the groceries with 5 paper bags and I put a whole Thanksgiving dinner into one. Does that make sense? No, you have to think about things
Mhm.
sometimes.
Mike, that's
Because
the
otherwise that
thing.
bag's gonna break, or you know what I mean. You have to.
Mm.
Don't be a fool.
That's see. Oh gosh, Mike just healing us today. Mike, okay, so like you said, the word, and that's what stood out to me. There we go. The word break. I feel like someone listening might need to hear this word that I'm about to, the word break, what you just said,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that this word right now is for everybody, but I just feel like someone right now needs to hear the word break, and that's going to mean something to them. Whether that's a break up, a break down, a breakthrough,
Mm,
someone needs to hear that
mm-hmm.
it's okay to let it break. Let it break. When
Yes.
it breaks, it is not over. It's not over. It's going, there is light inside of you. something's going to come to fruition when the dust
Mhm.
settles after the breakage.
When the dust settles, that's right, and that's how
Mike
you.
is example of
You know,
that,
when you go
folks.
through things, yes, you know, when you go through things, just know that there's another side. There's an other side.
Yes.
Um, and then when the dust settles, you have to see and listen and observe um, what's going to get you through to the other
Yeah.
side. And if you don't know, you find the resource. You
Exactly.
do
That's what I
find it, or
like.
you know what
That
I'm saying. You've got to try to do that
yeah. When they
in
say
ways,
like
you know.
if not if not you, then who? You know how I've heard that
Who?
before when it's like, oh, you need to start something because if you don't do it, someone else is going to do it. But also, if not you, then who? If you can't do something, who can help you? Basically,
Who can help you?
the theme of support is necessary. It is okay if you can't do something. It is okay to allow someone to help you. Someone needs to hear that. If not you,
Right.
then
Yeah.
who? Yeah.
And that someone else, like I said, that could be you need counseling to get through a situation
Yeah. Yeah.
because you
Uh,
can't emotionally deal, or you may need food resources. And hey, there's a food bank down the street. I didn't know about it. Or um, uh, you know, there's things out there, and that's a lot of my passion too, is to provide information. And that's what I do for work professionally, but because I know what it's like not
mhm.
having information, or the truth being
Right.
manipulated. I think that's a lot of the problem in the world today, is that people manipulate the truth,
Of
and
course.
there's got to be sources of truth and dignity,
Yeah.
integrity, um, substance. Uh, I feel very passionately about that.
Right.
So, you know, and that was instilled in me as a youth, growing up in the church, and these values.
Yeah.
So even through that, I retain the values
Yeah.
that I've been taught,
Yeah.
not to oppress or
Right.
belittle or whatever. But there's resources out there, and
Right.
there's people out there that can teach you, and I want to be that. And you're that. You're being that.
Yeah.
Everybody that's on your show is, or whatever, who has a platform, is that,
Mhm.
and should be that in positive ways, not destructive ways, because there are not always the most enlightening podcasts or content or such, this, that, and the other. But I firmly believe in right and wrong, and people believe know that, and
Yeah.
um, you know, do unto others kind of thing, and
Yeah. And
be authentic.
see, I love that. I know we're running out of time, but I wanted to thank you so much for just sharing your truth and what you're learning and what you have learned in life. Um, it really is inspiring, Mike. Seriously.
Thank you.
Um, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so
Thank you.
glad. I'm so
You
happy. I
know,
was like, this is phenomenal.
and I just want to say, you know, and maybe, you know, hopefully we get to talk again, because I have a lot of stories.
Oh yeah, I was
But
about to say,
you
Mike, I
know,
would love to have
my
you.
music career is
Hmm.
going really well now. I love it. I'm in a popular band called Funk Evolution. It's a great party band, funkevolution.com. I recently got to open up for Ty Herndon, who is one of the first out country artists in country music. He's Dove Award winning, CMA nominated. I got to open a
Whoa.
show with a great friend of
Wait,
mine, Chris
for
Malloy.
for us who
He's a
doesn't know,
guitarist.
for us who don't know what CMA means, CMA nominated.
Yes. Okay. So Country Music Award. Sorry, the Country Music Awards. And again, my friend Chris Malloy and I. He's Chris K Malloy with one L on social media. He's one of the best guitarists I've ever met. We
Mhm.
get to perform with Ty Herndon. This happened just a few weeks ago. So all these opportunities are happening because I'm stepping into this faith that it's
Yes.
okay to be me, and
Yes.
to reach, and to push, and to explore, and do it in good faith. Like, I'm here for a long time, and as long as I'm here, I'm going to um, do what I can,
Yes. Thanks
and
so
I'm really
much, Mike.
appreciative of it. And I appreciate
Yes.
you and your audience.
Oh, we appreciate you, Mike. You healing people. Yeah, this episode's gonna be around literally forever,
Thank you.
unless you tell me to take it down. But if
No,
not,
no,
this
no, no.
episode's gonna be on is gonna be on all podcast platforms all over the world forever. Mike, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. With that being said, folks, if no one has told you today that they love you, please allow me to be the first. I love you. I life you. I send you with grace. You are important. You are valuable. And if the building is breaking, it is not the end. There's maybe a light that's shining. There's a light that's shining. Let that dust settle. Let it break. Someone needs to hear that today. With that being said, folks, this has been another episode of Vulnerability Time. I will see y'all next episode when we talk about becoming. Whatever the hell that means, we will find out. Um, Bye, folks. Thank y'all so much. I love y'all. I life y'all. Mike, you stay on. I'm gonna just end the recording though. Okay. See
Cool.
y'all next week, folks. Hey there, if you liked this episode, go ahead and buy my book on Amazon. What the book is called, type it on Amazon. It is Spoken by Trenton Epizon. Epizon is spelled Epizon. I really would appreciate the support. Give it a review, give it a buy, give it a try, and I promise you, you will not be upset at it. It is a poetry book. It is a very easy, quick read, and it definitely will give you some healing and some insight and some wisdom on abuse, mental health, recovery, the tragedy to triumph. You will love it. Give it a buy, give it a try, and recommend the book and this episode with others. Go ahead and give this podcast a follow and share it with others. You could be the reason that someone is alive tomorrow because you decided to share this episode today. This podcast is about saving lives, healing ourselves and others, and encouraging others and ourselves as well. Thank y'all so much for the support. Love y'all. I life y'all. I will see y'all next episode. You are valuable. You are beautiful. You are still on this earth because you have the strength. Thank you. Bye, folks.